Welcome to another episode
No.
of the Caffeinated Librarians.
You stole her thunder.
Today, please continue, Amanda.
Greetings, programs. Today, we're continuing the Caffeinated Librarians segment of the Disney Appreciation videos. And we're going to get a little digital.
Oh my
And we're going to be talking about the 1982 amazing film and my personal favorite, Tron.
Starring your boy Jeff Bridges.
Oh, he's so good.
I
love Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. His character is basically the same as the Lebowski character. I love it.
I found out, when I'm watching the behind the scenes, they were they were guilty of casting, a British guy to be, evil.
Well, makes sense.
Apparently that guy was, a really intense actor on set that, there's a scene in the movie where you see, Sark, the program, and he's like, "Get them out of my sight and lock them away and kill them!" And the girl was, actually, really scared of him. She's like, "I'm gonna die."
He seems like the kind of actor that's done theater.
He did a lot.
I gotta say, I was impressed with how committed Jeff Bridges was to this. I kind of figured the acting would get a little rough when they were in the computer, but no, he was giving it his goddamn all.
Yeah,
he was Kevin Flynn.
There was no scene where he gave it more than when he made out with Tron's girlfriend. He was all about that. Jeff Bridges, getting it.
I mean, why wouldn't Jeff Bridges give his all in Tron, like any actor, even if it was just a paycheck?
He did struggle.
I mean,
I think
there's plenty of actors who don't give their all.
It's true.
Look at Harrison Ford in Return of the Jedi. He's sleepwalking.
Fair.
Really?
Yeah. He spends the last 30 minutes of that just mugging at Ewoks and being like... The whole bit where he's blind, he doesn't care. He's checked out. He wanted Han Solo dead.
Well, he got his wish.
It's okay. Sometimes people have to die in order for the plot to progress.
No, he genuinely wanted Han Solo dead at the end of Empire. He hated making those movies.
Oh, yeah. No.
He
enough.
thought George was a big nerd.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
One of my favorite quotes from him is George, you can type this, you can't say it.
nice.
Watch me. So, I grew up with this movie, and just like everybody else here who has picked, their favorite Disney movies, I have appreciated this movie. It came out way before this whole craze of, we're all going to go into, the digital world kind of thing. It was kind of the first of its kind. Maybe in, that I know of, going back, it's War Games, I think, came the year after, where it was, using video games to,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it
Was
came out in
after
1983,
Tron? Oh.
not 1982. And then, you have, this big trend in, anime where it's we're stuck in a video game and we're stuck in this, virtual world. Before Ready Player One, before the Matrix, before the Metaverse, we have two separate worlds coexisting side by side. One is the real world that we think we live in. And then
Until
there's
we're
the
unplugged, we
world
won't
of the
know.
grid, where the programs reside, where they believe in this weird kind of religious... They believe in the users, which are the programmers. And so they believe that they will save them from this authoritarian dictatorship that's going on currently.
Master control
well,
program.
I mean, you also, though, too, if you look at when the movie was made, because you're in 1982, it's still the Cold War, and of course you get the big boom of video games. So I can understand the premise of the movie.
And the bad guys were red.
Yep.
That's deep stuff right there.
Red also tends to be a evil color in general. So.
Unless you're watching Star Trek, because if they're wearing red, they're
die.
going to die by the end of the episode.
They're
But
usually good guys.
yeah, this movie was crazy. I didn't understand a lick of the plot, I'm going to be honest, but it looked amazing, and it won me over on that alone.
The base plot is literally just Flynn used to work for Encom.
Yeah,
Encom
but
took his property, and then erased his name from it.
You know what?
And so now he just spends his life hacking into Encom's computers,
Correct.
trying to find.
But when they go inside and they meet the old guy, and now he's like the Pope who lives in the floor.
How dare you make fun of Dumont?
He looks like a Dark Souls NPC. It's awesome. He's just waiting for them, and he's like, halt!
What program?
Yeah, but and then they just grab a frisbee, and they're like, this is the code we need, and it's just like, oh, okay, hell
It's the
yeah.
data disk.
Also, the master control program is starting to become conscious, and it's starting to run its own stuff. Like, I love the part when
He's evolved
Yo,
so
he
much
used to be a
that
chess
he's
program.
I like the part where he's like, yes, I'm bored of hacking corporations. Next is the Pentagon, then the Kremlin. Did you get me those Chinese papers I asked for? Like, who is he talking to?
He wants world domination.
I thought that was great.
See what happens when
And
you
then-
let AI evolve
when
to
you-
a certain point.
When you see him at the end, I'm gonna change what I said earlier. I think he almost looked like the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh,
when
Oh my god, he did.
When you saw him at the end, yeah.
So does that mean that the Kool-Aid Man is really trying to take over the world?
I mean,
He knows
that
where
as
you
you
are.
it's your
He
house.
knows
Then it's the
constantly where
Pentagon.
You are. You can summon him like that.
Yeah.
Oh
Those
my
commercials used to scare me, just crashing through your wall.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
imagine?
It's at first it's your home, then it's the Pentagon, then it's criminal.
Kool-Aid just crashing.
Somebody's
through.
had to make that of just the Pentagon receiving dire news, people going, oh no, and
Oh,
then
no,
just
oh,
Kool-Aid
yeah.
Man bursts in.
Jesus. So, I don't know how many of you guys it was your first time. Clearly, it was Joe's first time
My
watching
first.
Tron.
my first
My
time.
first time also.
My first time. But it's not my first. Like, I know Tron, like the original, through Kingdom Hearts 2.
How dare you? That was the only reason I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 2. I was like, I could care less about every other Disney franchise, but then when I saw, I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, is that a Tron world in the commercial? I was like, oh no, they're gonna take my money. And I still haven't played that one because I refuse to get into it. I refuse.
And actually, I saw Tron Legacy.
That was a
Mickey,
lot of
it's
people's first
Riku.
time watching
They put
it.
bugs in him.
What?
That's a Kingdom Hearts line. I always see it out of context because it's just the most baffling thing
What?
ever.
They put bugs in? Is it the Nightmare Before Christmas one?
I don't know.
That's the only thing I could think of where they put bugs in something.
Oogie Boogie
Oogie Boogie's
Fauna.
filled with
I
bugs.
know, but
It's just a lump of bugs. Nasty.
can I just say though, when I watched this movie, I mean, I got the basic plot of basically the guy is disgruntled. They stole his life work. That much I pretty much got. But like, I kind of felt like when you entered the world, the computer world, it's like you were taken there in the middle of something already happening.
Yes.
And I kind of, maybe that was obvious, but
It was the point because
Oh.
Master Computer knew. There's the whole scene where he's trying to hack
Kool-Aid
in.
Man
He
knew.
goes into Encom because his friends let him in.
Yeah.
And they're like, maybe you can get in there because they lost apparently a lot of the system. They lost
Yeah.
access to the
Code
things,
7
to the
access.
codes.
no,
yeah.
no, that much I got.
And so he had to go in and be, since he's like the greatest hacker, he's
Yeah.
super hacker. He goes in, he hacks, and Master Computer's like, wait, stop, don't do that, get out of here. And then he like tunes up, since he has control of all of
Yeah.
Encom, he powers up the laser, and he's like, no, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he blasts
No,
him
that
in the middle
much I
of the-
got. Like that I got. I followed along. That I got.
Yes.
But it's like once you enter the digitized world, and it seems to be it's like a fully kind of fledged world because you got the like autocratic people, the religious leaders who have been banished. But I still kind of felt as if I was taken in the like. It kind of was almost like I was assuming like I have to know a lot of this, and then a lot of the terminologies that were being used, I didn't
Like
really.
when Sark calls the guy, when he says, "You're such a bit brain." Like
So
stuff
the
like
actors actually had a hard time too trying to figure out the plot.
Oh, the dialogue in this
Especially
movie
the guy
is
who played
bananas.
Dumont and Walter Gibbs, the older man.
Okay, so it's
He
not.
was like, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
I love it. I
mean,
love just seeing
yeah.
people wander around this bizarre landscape shouting nonsense. Like, I mean this 100% sincerely. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
This looked wild, and I was just like, yeah, sure, they gotta get the bits.
And to only think that this is only, that world is only dedicated, real. It's supposed to be like the internet. This is the whole internet, where programs. This is inside a computer. This is inside your computer and all other computers. This is just the whole digital space. Hence why you get like programs like
I
RAM.
wish the inside of a computer looked like that.
Maybe it does, and we just don't know.
What I did like, I like how it was
I can open up the
colorized.
computers here. They don't look like that, unfortunately.
How do
You're
you?
not in the digital space.
I know,
You're just on
Joe.
on the physical. You got to get into the digital.
That's surface level.
You
No.
need that laser to get digitized.
Yeah, but I did like the color scheme. I like how they look like when they enter the world and everything like that. I liked Ram. I was rooting for Ram. Why did Ram have to die?
I like the little stupid bit that it could only say yes or no. I was
That
like,
was
that's
good.
a pretty decent
But who-
binary
He was in
joke.
the beginning working for Jeff Bridges' program called Clue. He comes at the very beginning of the movie where he's like, it's his little assistant when he needs help, and he's just over here like, can you do this? And he's like, yes. No. Don't do that. He can say more than yes or no, but he didn't want to.
He was kind of cute.
Punk.
I liked Bit. Yeah. Okay. There's just certain things like I kind of felt like it was very much like unless you're a gamer or you're sort of involved, certain things would kind of just go over your head. That's kind of how I felt. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. But maybe
No,
it
the
was just me.
jargon certainly like confused me because
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I play video games, but I'm not like a computer programmer at all.
Yeah.
I have a decent understanding of computers. They weren't actually saying anything real in this.
No, like the word derez, they had a whole vocabulary of their
Yeah.
own. Like derez
Yeah.
is basically just death. It's like
Yeah.
derezed means they've been stripped of their code and they're just gone forever.
Is it supposed to be like de-resolution?
I assume, I'm not sure, but whenever they use the
I'm
term
probably thinking way
derezed,
too
it's
hard about
whenever a
this.
program, they use it as a very threatening tone. They're like, he's going to get derezed. And so it's like, that means he's just going to die.
You know, I don't think the
Bye-bye
people
program.
making this really knew too much about computers, if I'm being honest. I think they were just using
Computers were
words
still
they
fairly
heard
new.
once, maybe, and they were like, I don't know.
Well, initially when they were designing Tron, they had this idea of, like, Tron was short for, like, electronic.
Oh.
And they had created, like, this character. They were an animation of, like, 6 people. An animation company of, like, 6 people. And they were animators dealing with the high competitive industry of animation. You had animators everywhere. But with 6 new graduate students, they were trying to kind of get their way in the world.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know what fully sparked. They had this project of doing like this big Olympic animation project, but during the time period they had come up with it, it was during the boycott of the Olympics, where like the Russian involvement and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
Jimmy Carter pulled us out.
Exactly. So they didn't get to really do that. And Tron came up as like they had this guy. They got an Olympic athlete who was like a discus thrower. Hence why you have the Tron discs now too. And they had wanted to do this commercial, and they had this whole thing where they had his body kind of like lit up almost. They had him like rigged and stuff like that. And so that's where they were like, oh, this kind of looks like an electronic thing. And that's where they kind of came up with shortening it to Tron. And that was kind of the origin of Tron right there, was just this discus player, which they didn't get for the movie. But
Good thing they didn't go with Alec.
Lek.
Lek. They took, or Ick, they could have gone with too.
L, whatever. No, Tron was cooler.
What if this movie is called Nick?
I would think it's about cigarettes for some reason.
And the guy who played Alan, it was funny in the last scene where he's like fighting the master computer with this
The Kool-Aid Man, yeah.
the Kool-Aid Man. Apparently that was done in like one shot because they had been trying to film that shot, and the director really wanted him to go all out, so he like basically challenged him on their break. He was like, I think you do better. I think that he wanted them to be very athletic during these moments, and so he like was like, I think you haven't really done your best.
Yeah,
He
some
told
of
him
the fights
flat.
within the computer were a little,
Yeah.
So that's how they got
They
all
go
those.
down they slide down the thing, and he like falls over
Not,
like 12
not
times.
quite Jackie Chan level.
No.
So that's how they got all the final shots. Was that it was those final shots were the last ones that he thought were perfect because he was like he finally got into this like fighting. He looked like he was trying and fighting the like master computer, and he was like finally because the other more it takes he told him he was lazy. So he's like do more.
No.
Oh no, I liked when Jeff Bridges was flying that thing and it kept losing pieces. I thought that was awesome.
I forget what they're called, but they're like, I know they repurposed them in Tron Legacy to be like carriers. They just
That's what it looked like it would do. Like it would pick something up.
They were supposed to be like battleships.
Oh,
was it
Like
so hard
different
to
kinds
fly?
of battleships in the original Tron.
Well, because I don't think he had all the parts, right? Like he was
No,
missing some parts.
He just grabbed the thing and he was like, yeah, and
he
then
just didn't know how to drive it.
Oh, okay.
He spent
How could
his
it be
time
that
destroying them.
Or maybe it's like those driving games at arcades that are just like ridiculously sensitive. Like you go like that, and the car goes all the
He
way
did
off
say it
the
was
road.
just like the arcade stick.
Yeah, and he was so good at that. So
Yeah.
why was this one so much difficult for him?
It's a big hulking thing because when he created the game that those things are in, which is I think they call it like Space Pioneers or something like that. When you see him in the beginning of the movie, he's playing in the arcade with all the kids going, "Whoa, he's gonna beat the high score! Oh my
Of
god!"
the game he invented.
And I don't think they know that, which is kind of crazy. They're just like, "How does he do it?" And he's like, "It's on the wrist." But like the game is
I
like
designed it.
you're driving a tank, just like Clue was driving in the digital world, and you shoot those things out of the sky. So I don't know. It's like it's kind of weird. You're shooting them. You've never had to drive them. You're shooting them. So
That's true. That's a good point. He never had to fly the.
the thing. He didn't make a game based on the.
So
Just the pew pew part.
the thing that I don't get, and I actually enjoyed the movie very much. But NCOM, what are you doing, NCOM? Like, first off, the guy that rose to power for stealing video games. So he's the head of a company for stealing video games. And then at the end, it's like, oh yeah, Jeff Bridges is redeemed, and you know that his video games were stolen. So we're going to make him the head of the company? This company that's also decided to start building lasers that can transform matter? The guy that invents video games.
What if
is worthy.
Nintendo also just made nuclear arms?
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Yeah, right? Like that's
Actually, on set, they had a blocked off area that you couldn't go into.
with nuclear arms.
That actually had like some nuclear.
What? Why?
Why?
I'd have to
This
really
sounds
look
like
at-
an urban legend.
No, I was watching the thing, and they were talking about how the actress one day went to go get off set and to like touch up her makeup, and she ended up stepping her foot into this area that was supposed to be blocked off, and people were shouting at her like, "Stop! Don't go over there!" And they had to like get a professional
Where
to take
were
her
they
shoe off and everything.
filming?
No, I don't remember.
At
I was
Indian
I
Point?
was listening in on that part, and I was like, "What?" They had like a nuclear like area where it was like you couldn't go there.
I guess this puts it in the lineage of that movie where John Wayne played Genghis Khan and Stalker. Both those movies were filmed on nuclear waste sites.
Really?
And just about everyone in them got cancer, so.
Oh my god. Heavy. That's heavy.
I was trying to think if I could find it. Don't think so. Anyways, NCOM.
So
NCOM
NCOM,
is
yeah.
a
They're ridiculous.
multinational computer technology corporation.
It's
They have developed many
ridiculous.
important programs like technologies such as like digitized hardware and software, the NCP, and the program Tron.
So, okay, now that I am thinking about it, IBM was kind of doing the same thing.
Aha!
True.
Because IBM was taking a bunch of government military contracts and also making
True.
personal computers and stuff, so.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess that was just a thing we've grown out of. Now those companies are separate.
Now, but would the guy that invented 5 video games be risen to
No,
power?
he would
He
not
did
be
more than
CEO of
video
IBM.
games.
Yeah.
He used to work for NCOM as a programmer in general. he was just very smart and stuff like that. But when he created the game during his time
No,
there,
but even the guy that stole the games,
yeah, he was, a
he
butthead.
was the one that was risen to power.
They said you made a
He was a
motorcycle
cutthroat.
game. You gotta be in charge of the magic laser.
Let's promotion right now.
Well, even his like little program, Sark even tells him, he's just like, Ed, I gotta tell you, you've gotten quite like nasty, like mean lately. He's like, I like it, and he's just like, thank you, computer. And I'm just like, oh my god. He's got the perfect wingman right there. He's just like, you're looking good in that suit today, Ed.
This is
well, thank you, computer.
This is sort of jumping way ahead, but the final shot of this movie. This is going to be a bit of an extended point. I apologize, but
No,
it
you're
made me
fine.
cackle at first because they did a thing where like they sped up footage of LA to make it look like the streets
Everything's
were like
moving.
yeah, like it was a computer board. And I cackled because there's an art film from the 80s called Koyaanisqatsi that does the same thing and has like this like epic Philip Glass score. It's crazy. But I was like, oh my god, did they just end Tron on Koyaanisqatsi? And then I looked it up. They came out the same year?
Oh my god.
Was this just in the water? Like,
Wow.
Maybe that was the hot new thing, was to speed up, you know?
Yeah.
Things.
Some editor was like, "Hey guys, look what I can do." And then every director.
Well, it's funny because in Tron Legacy, they do that again. To kind of, that's why I like Tron Legacy. They had a lot of love for the original series to bring into the newer series.
Can you explain the sirens of Tron Legacy? Because I watched that clip.
The sirens?
Yeah.
The women?
Yeah.
They're just programs.
But
But what do they do?
They prepare programs for the games.
so are they not referred to
What?
as the sirens though? Like that's what the clip said. That's not how they're referred to. Maybe never mind. Forget
In
that.
the movie, they don't really refer to them as that. Everybody that is inside is a program that was created by somebody.
Okay.
And they all have specific functions that they work on. Like, as we said, like Ram was a, kind of a multi-purpose, accounting program. He was meant for, he says that he worked for a big corporation and that, he did like taxes and he was really proud of what he did. And so Tron Legacy takes place, like, I think, is it 20 years? Or something like
clue.
that. It's many years later.
It is many years later.
Yeah, it's like 20, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, see that the grid has updated.
Oh, okay.
It updates with the times and how the users have updated the internet and its capabilities and stuff
okay.
like that.
All right.
And especially with Flynn's influence inside the grid. So I don't really know what the sirens were necessarily programmed for. You just know that they added more stuff to Tron Legacy that wasn't from the original Tron,
okay.
like the ISOs.
Does Flynn let the power go to his head?
No.
No.
So who's the bad guy in Tron
Clue.
Legacy? Oh,
The
that's
program that Flynn makes that you see in the beginning of the original Tron. Who's driving the tank with the little talking
right. I remember.
ball. That's Clue.
Right.
And then he brings Clue back because that's his program, and he uses Clue and he brings back Tron to, protect the grid because he realizes there's a whole, after being inside the grid, he realizes there's so much that you can learn. There's they don't suffer from disease and they don't, they're constantly evolving. He finds a whole new race of people in the grid that are different from the programs. And they're Clue works with Flynn in trying to make them like a safe space and to keep them protected, but Clue ends up ultimately trying to kill them all.
Nice.
So he can control everything.
I need to
He
watch.
thinks he can do it better.
Yeah.
He's basically Master Computer 2.0, where he's evolved so much and he views Flynn as being kind of in the past. And he's like, no, I could do things much better if I was authoritarian again. Woo!
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolute. So
Yeah.
he left him in
Damn straight.
charge of the grid when he wasn't there. And that's what ended up happening. That's how Tron gets corrupted and all that good stuff.
And yeah, I have to watch Tron Legacy again after watching Tron.
Everyone should go watch Tron
Hey.
Legacy after this.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect sequel.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're not gonna look this crazy.
I'm afraid of what the third one will change now.
Yeah, the effects were kind of wild.
This,
I mean,
this blew my mind.
Yeah, like I don't know how they did a lot of the stuff that they were doing, and
So Amanda told me that a lot of the lines were drawn on, which tracks.
yeah.
I was looking when I was looking, and I was like, "That's what it looks like." Yeah.
oh wow.
They
But-
did a thing that was called backlight compositing, I think is what they said. And so the whole set, they were trying to figure out how they could get the lighting effect that they had on them and they initially were going to use like a white back. But they found a guy who did a commercial. I don't know if you've ever seen the commercial where this guy's juggling like light up balls. It's an old commercial, and they picked his brain a bit, and they said he's perfect to help consult us on how to do this. So they found him, talked to him, and so then instead of doing a full white background, they did a full black background, and all the outfits were white. So they had this whole lighting system in the back that matched up with the people when they needed it to. So they hand drew the lines on the costumes to get the light effect that they wanted. But every cell they had to look at and put 24 frames or something on it just to achieve.
I'm crying
Oh.
reading some of this. This sounds brutal.
It was a lot.
For the scenes where he was flying the thing through the canyon, right?
The solar surfer.
Yeah. So the computers couldn't do
fantastic?
animation, so they just had to produce still images and capture them with a camera aimed at a computer screen. They couldn't print it to the film. So, each frame could take up to 6 hours.
Oh my god.
This sounds miserable.
Well, it's funny because they were talking about the actors on set, since a lot of this was they didn't have a set.
Yeah.
They were literally just pretending the entire. Jeff Bridges had a problem because he's like, I'm an actor and I feel like green screen takes away from acting, like me as an actor. I was like, blah blah blah, but because he doesn't like when he's told to look at something that's
It
not
does,
there.
though.
And I'm sure it's
Yeah,
a
you had to have seen the clips of Ian McKellen losing his mind filming The Hobbit.
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, I did see that
It
behind
sucks.
the scenes. It
But
does.
they also
These
said that
tennis
some of it was
balls.
kind of magical because they were trying to. They would have very low sets. I like
That's
seeing
Lord
the
of the
stills
Rings.
of when they're doing the light cycles. They're they really want you to really feel like you're in them. So they have this block, and they're sitting on. They have to mount it like it's a motorcycle and move forward. And they have just this stick, and they're just
He brought up Lord of the Rings. That's why I did that.
Yeah, but it's actually The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, not Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Splitting hairs at that point.
What else do you see, Joe, that blows your mind?
I'm surprised they shot it in 65 millimeter, but that's just a very expensive film stock, but it paid off because it looks crazy, and I lost my mind because their faces in black and white.
I was gonna say, so how'd they do that?
I think they just filmed it in black and white and
So-
kind of superimposed their faces on.
Oh.
But because you could tell it had a different sort of grain to it than the
Yeah.
rest of the image. But I don't know, that just created such an interesting effect.
Yeah.
I loved that look.
They also
Yeah,
worked
that's
with
really
something
cool.
like a thing in Taiwan to do some of sometimes when you see their faces blacked out, you can sometimes see this weird animated eye or mouth effect come up on them. It's a split second, but they went to a place in Taiwan that did little pieces like that, and they would send them back so they could impose it on the cells and everything. Everything was hand done. They said that there was very little actual computer work that went into this film. So you would think that wow, look at all the CGI, but that's just animation right
That's
there.
cool.
That's all
There
them,
is a decent amount
Yeah.
of CGI, but yeah, most of it is not.
which is nuts.
That is, yeah. Wow.
Simona, what'd you think of Tron?
Oh,
She's still getting over the
She's
death of
into
Ram.
it. She's so into it. She was just
She felt bad about Ram.
yeah.
I
She's
kind of
engrossed with the world and wants to experience it herself.
I want to go.
She wants to be digitized.
God no.
I want to be able to have a stupid baton to tilt, and there's a light cycle. That'd be dope. You can get a real one. You can get a Tron Light Cycle from Tron Legacy, but they're not street legal.
I would hope not.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
They
you
can
don't
only turn
say.
at 90-degree angles.
Hell yeah. I said if I ever became like a gajillionaire, that's the first thing I would buy is I'm gonna splurge. I'm gonna buy one. I don't even know how to ride a motorcycle. We're gonna find out.
That's cool. You can get those though.
Right? They're really dope.
Yeah, I mean, some parts I found engaging, but on the whole, like, I'm happy that I watched it so I could say I did watch it, but I'm not sure if it's one I'd rewatch.
Well, are you gonna watch the sequel?
I don't know.
You should, because it's got Daft Punk doing the soundtrack. It's more updated, so the graphics are, I think.
The graphics.
I know Joe's over here like, I think I like this better.
I do like this better.
Modernly, like, more graphically appealing.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have bothered me, to be perfectly honest, because like I know it's the 80s. I wasn't expecting it to really look like something we could do now. Although there are some films where it's like, never mind, I'll just stick with the original. Like, don't even. Yeah, that wasn't what was not bothering me. That's a strong word, but like there were things that I really liked. I liked the way they colorized the parts when they're in the digital world. I liked Ram. I like how enthusiastic he was.
He believed in the users.
Yeah, the whole Joy and Tron thing, like I didn't really understand that. I was like, okay, fine. And
Yuri
then
and Tron are modeled after the
No. I know who
creators,
I know who they were, but I don't know. That whole thing was weird. I didn't really understand her purpose in the film, to be perfectly honest. She could have not been there and it would have still been the same kind of film. I'm sorry.
She was part of the laser. She helped design. The reason she's there is because the laser program they created.
No, I'm not talking about her in the real world.
In the computer, I'm kind of
in the computer realm.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
The girl in real life, Laura,
Yeah.
created a program, which was Yuri. She didn't name it Yuri, but that's just what it is. And it was the program that helped with the laser creation.
No, we get that. I think what me and Simona are saying, or what Simona's really saying, I'm just agreeing to, is that in that digital world, that program, that character just didn't do anything, didn't serve a purpose.
She's
there.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, she's there for the eye. She's there for the eye candy.
Essentially, because I was watching it.
She's Tron's girlfriend, but she was given the eyes.
To be fair, so was Laura. That's Laura's ex-boyfriend.
She was given the eyes
Flynn.
too. I'm like, Alan, don't let them go by themselves, Alan.
He's like, I don't know why you say. She's like, he's the most brilliant man I know, and I'm over here like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Alan lets them go by themselves.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
I really liked the music in this, and I'm now realizing it's because it's by my girl, Wendy Carlos.
Oh, what else has she done?
She was pretty much like the synthesizer pioneer. She released Switched on Bach in 1968, which was the first popular album to be entirely synthesizer. She did the soundtracks for a bunch of Kubrick movies, Clockwork Orange, The Shining. She's just the coolest. Yeah. Also, a very early symbol of trans visibility. So.
Of what?
Trans visibility.
Oh.
Yeah, she was openly trans, by the 70s, I believe.
Well, she did Flash Gordon. Oh, no, sorry, no, she didn't. Sorry. I was looking at something on IMDb, and they were like, recommended Flash Gordon.
Savior of the universe.
So, looking at some of this. Oh, it's actually really funny. There was one funny thing I heard about the costumes from Jeff Bridges is that, so when they were doing the costumes, they felt like, they're very, like, pajama looking. And they called them pajamas on set. But if you notice, he has this belt. It's supposed to be like a workout belt. And he said it was essentially basically like a jock strap. But it was so tight on him that it became like an on-running gag. He could not sit. Because it was so painful to sit with that thing on. That's why he's like, there's very little sitting in the grid. But he was like, it became an off-screen joke where they're like, you gonna sit? He's like, no.
I was also thinking, going back to outfits, you have to really be in shape because those outfits hide nothing.
They did that for the Laura's character. She said they called her one day and they were like, "Where are you?" She's like, "At the gym." And they were like, "Why? We need you here." She's like, "I'm not leaving until I lose 5 pounds." Because at the time it was like skin tight.
You get like the butt shots from some of the guys as they're climbing up the wall, and I'm like,
Butts.
butt shots.
Digital butts.
And I'm just saying. Just saying what you all were thinking we were watching that, because you had to be in shape to wear those outfits.
Oh no, yeah, that was like a big gag on the set was all the outfits. They were just like, let's talk about the outfits, and they're like, oh, those outfits.
Was there like when you're looking at the villain character, like the hood that he wears, were those modeled after anything in particular? Because he kind of looks like a religious figure, or no? Okay, it's probably just me. Okay, I'm thinking too hard.
Not that I know of. I think they wanted to make him seem like as villainy.
Oh, he kind of looks like a cobra. Kind of like a cobra hood.
Well, clearly he's striking people, killing people, striking
if
people.
anything, it looked like Darth Sidious's robes from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Now. Just imagine lightning bolts coming out of his. Little digital light. What else do you see, Joe?
I was looking at Jeff Bridges' filmography. I'm gonna be honest.
Jeff Bridges.
One of my favorite Jeff Bridges movies, aside from, I don't know if Tron's my favorite, but it's up there, is Starman with Karen Allen.
They were trying, I think he did that movie just before Tron, if I'm not mistaken, and they were talking about how they did after it, and I think he brought a little bit of, Kevin Flynn into Starman, I think he said.
The movie he did just before Tron is one of my favorites with him, Cutter's Way. It's just this very nasty neo-noir where he's just sort of like an idiot who lives on a boat and wants to do nothing. But he's friends with John Hurd, who plays this really awful Vietnam veteran who's super paranoid and angry and just is concocting insane theories about murder plots.
That would be the second person then he would have played a homeless man who's a little mentally ill, because he did the same thing with Robin Williams in The Fisher King.
Never heard of that.
I've never heard of The
Fisher
Fisher King?
I've never
Oh
watched
yeah,
it,
it's
Brian
a
talks
Gilliam
about
movie. It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's sad.
He's like a shock jock DJ in it. Yeah.
So going into Tron Legacy, I know people still have to watch that. They actually changed the purpose a little bit of the. Well, you have. I don't know if Lewis. He just says, "Is that the one with Olivia Wilde in it?" Because that's my girl.
That's my girl.
Well, now you can go watch Tron Legacy and swoon after her.
No.
She's got a cool
it's
haircut.
not like a swooning thing. It's like she's the. You know what I mean? Like she's like, I want to party with her.
Well, you definitely want to party with her.
I want to hang out with her.
She's doing.
You know what
She's
I mean?
like.
And now that she's not with Harry Styles, because I heard that they were a little ick,
Good.
But her and Jason Sudeikis, I think I'd get along with both of them.
Funny guy.
No, they also seemed a little crazy together. I don't know.
Oh, really?
How that divorce played out was messy.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The divorce was a little sus.
So, in Tron Legacy, the discs are meant to be kind of like they're
Frisbees.
like your license.
Oh.
Essentially, they hold that program's data and all the information about that program.
They're also frisbees.
But they're also really sick frisbees.
What was the water supposed to be that they start drinking to get
good
their
question.
power source?
Yeah, what was with that? Yeah.
Is that just electricity?
It's just water. I don't know.
I don't know. They were really treating it like it was giving them powers or something or strength.
Well, I mean, in Tron Legacy, there's a bar, and they're like, "Would you like a libation?"
And they just give them water.
They give them a drink. They have alcohol in the grid. I don't know. It's a whole nother
There
world.
has to be significance.
Maybe
I-
to
But
them
the water
it's
was
delicious
but the
water.
water was sparkly and
There's
it gave
there's
them
significance to
power.
everything.
Digital
Maybe
water.
it was
There
electricity.
doesn't need to be any significance.
But there always is.
I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe you're
It's a
obsessed
digital
with
frontier.
significance.
I was thinking, God, this must have been very popular among stoners when this came out. Like,
Jeff Bridges.
no, not Jeff Bridges. How it looks. This is crazy. In 1982, where else are you seeing this?
Look here.
That's not a knock.
I'm gonna, if I was in the A's, I'd go see this movie without being high. Thank you. Although, I wonder what it must have been like now that you've mentioned it.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let's look at some trivia. Because I'm out of my own trivia. The film was disqualified
For what?
from receiving an Academy Award nomination for special effects because the Academy felt at the time that using computer-generated effects was cheating.
Hell yeah. Insane rules.
So they did create an arcade game, which you could have played.
It's bad.
At
I've
Disney
played it.
Quest.
It's bad.
I used to go to Disney Quest when my stepfather worked at the Wolfgang Pucks there. And, like, that was the one game I always played. And I had such a hard time with it. It was such a difficult game. So, yes, the game did suck.
You ever see the Defunct Land video about Disney Quest?
I was very upset with it because I spent a lot of time in Disney Quest. I actually have I was telling Lou about it because he likes Toy Story. They had an area where you could create your own Sid toy, where you could take the pieces of toys and make your own, like, weird amalgamation.
And yet they still want you to believe Sid was the villain.
He was
didn't
just
know
an
those
overly
toys were
creative
real.
child with
He
no
didn't
outlet,
know
and his
they
mom
were
didn't know what to do.
alive.
As far as
He
you
was
know.
doing nothing wrong.
What, blowing up toys?
Yo, they're not alive. If you don't know they're alive, it's a piece of plastic.
Look, in today's time, we'd say that's a red flag.
The fact of the matter is that he's obsessed with explosives.
All little
In
boys
the
are
movie.
obsessed with, like, fireworks.
I'm still obsessed with blowing
Yeah.
My
smoke.
boyfriend's still
Yeah.
obsessed.
Whenever my family would go to Pennsylvania, we'd get some
Yeah, it's
fireworks.
the best part.
all little boys and all men are partially little pyromaniacs inside.
I
They just wanna
think
watch the
Sid
world
did
burn.
nothing wrong. He didn't know those toys were real.
I
Other
think
than
sh-
being
I
a
think-
bully, like a neighborhood bully, that was the only thing else.
I don't think
he-
we never saw him interact with another kid.
Did we?
That's true.
No, we
No.
didn't.
I thought there was the one time. Oh no, he went to the arcade and that's it.
Yeah,
But he
was-
didn't interact with anybody.
No, yeah.
You're
He was
right.
just like, come on, I want my toy!
He was a very angry, very creative
He also
child.
got kicked out of camp.
Oh, that's right. He did get kicked out of camp.
That's true.
He just has
Well
behavioral
played.
issues.
Lawyered.
He has a lot of behavioral issues.
They're like,
Um,
you can't blow it up
And his
here,
mom
Sid.
keeps feeding him Pop-Tarts. He wants Pop-Tarts. I remember he said that in the movie. He was like, Mom, where are the Pop-Tarts?
I like
He
Pop-Tarts.
screams for Pop-Tarts. I'm like, I just go to the
I
cabinet
haven't,
and
I
get
haven't
my
had a
Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart in a
No, I
long
think it's
time.
like his mom.
I love the cinnamon roll Pop Tarts. Those are just so good.
The s'more Pop Tarts.
Good stuff, too.
They're cinnamon roll ones.
I do want to say that
Yeah,
I've
you gotta
got
try
Simona
this.
to watch Toy Story.
Simona watched Toy Story.
I
Yeah.
did, yes.
Did you love every minute of it?
What, is it your first time watching Toy Story?
Yeah.
Your favorite part was definitely how the people looked, right?
What is with you people not having childhoods?
Hey, I'm the one
What
who
is
got her
with
to
this?
watch
This is
it.
your first time watching Toy Story?
Yeah. I'm feeling judged right now. I don't
Why did your
appreciate it.
mom
So-
not show? I don't blame you. I blame your parents.
Did you love it, or is it your favorite movie ever now?
No.
You didn't love Toy Story?
I
Not-
kind of got that
kinda
sense
like
when
Not-
we were done watching.
Yeah, not.
I
not-
also had her watch Matilda too.
But then
You
you, gotta
must have
watch Toy
loved
Story
Matilda.
too.
Not.
Yeah, see? Yeah. I kind of got that sense.
Matilda is a very solid film.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito brought his A game on directing that.
Yeah, you did.
I love Danny DeVito's directorial career.
Yeah.
It's very
And the
odd.
Trunchbull was the top-notch villain.
But a Toy Story, I think, is very funny. I think visually, maybe, I think the sequels, I think even 2 is at a more comfortable level of look. But I don't know. The script's good.
Yeah.
There's good lines in there.
It's Toy Story.
You didn't like Matilda
Wait.
either? Like the what?
Wallace Shawn is Rex? What?
What?
Who?
Wallace Shawn, the
Yeah.
short guy from
Inconceivable.
Oh, that
Princess
guy.
Bride.
Oh yeah.
Mort Rifkin himself.
Like Toy Story or Matilda. That sounds like a great double feature right there.
I know, and I showed it as a double feature
Did you
too.
see that like many Disney animators actually refused to work on this film
Why?
because they were
This
afraid
sounded
that
miserable to
computers
work
would,
on.
Oh.
Well, they said they
That's-
feared that computers would put them out of business. But little
Just
did
like
they
the
know
Master
20
Control program.
22 years later, they would close down the hand-drawn animated studio to go to digital. You know?
Could you say that digital was the Master Control program?
You're thinking on the big level.
Yeah.
Big.
And the
I can't
programmers-
process a sentence.
And the programmers' cubicles that you see in the scene when they're showing you like the inside of NCOM are the actual cubicles, programmer cubicles at Walt Disney's Information Technology Group.
But
So that scene was filmed in Disney. Those were the actual
Wow.
Walt
I know
Disney cubicles.
even by the time of the first Shrek movie, like computer animation was just terrible to work with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like DreamWorks would punish animators by sending them to go work on Shrek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like, no, you're not working on Prince of Egypt anymore. You're getting Shrek'd, man, and send them down the hall. And they or like the studio that made Jimmy Neutron, miserable.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
apparently they were like constantly dealing with power outages and just losing hours and hours of work.
Oh my
Like just
You probably don't like Shrek either, huh?
Somebody once told her the world is going.
I don't know.
Have you heard about these Shrek raves people are going to?
what'd you say?
Have you heard about these Shrek raves that people are going
I
to?
don't want to know about
A
it.
Shrek rave?
Yeah, where people dress up as like characters or stuff, and then just like party to like the soundtrack, like you know remix versions. They just have a good
Oh
time.
my
Look,
God.
they're having a good time. I want to go.
But
I'm not
why?
that into Shrek. I love
You know-
Shrek. I'm not that into Shrek.
Amanda, I also appreciate this pick because it's a Disney live action pick, and I feel like we don't talk about the live action stuff they do that often.
It's actually, I'm not gonna lie, like I grew up with most of the animated movies, but I was as a child very against live action. I was like, gross, boring, not as exciting or colorful as like these cool animated ones. I think I had just a very good appreciation for animation as a child, but then live action seems so boring. But then I saw Tron and I was like,
Mind
That was your
blown.
gateway drug.
not
Like,
even.
this is what
Even
the
now I
world
have an
can
issue.
be.
I'm like, oh, boring. We'll say goodbye to you guys for this episode. Bye.